Hello, how are you feeling today, my friend? I'm Elra Servi from Team NDL and welcome to Bystander Channel. Or should I say, welcome to myself back again to Bystander Channel. Through the so-called successful Zombie World deck profile that I did for you guys a month or so back, Bystander asked again if I can do another upload for you guys, and I decided to go with Shaddoll Invoked, which I think is very, very fun. I did want to go with Mekk Invoked at the start again, just like he asked me, but then I realized I don't have the Neos Fusion engine, so I decided to just not go with that. And I felt like proxying for you guys more like one card that just have good reason for because of the quarantine is just doesn't really feel fair. And yeah, so I have you guys this list. And before we begin, one last thing. If you're gonna want to go to join my channel, you're more than welcome to. Links will be in the description. We're having a giveaway, so if you guys want to win an Eternity Code box, you're more than welcome to. It's very, very low number of entries, so you might going to have a very good chance. It's like 300 entries and like there are 12 days to go. So if you guys want to maybe have a chance to win that, that could be really, really cool for you. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And apparently people in the community really think highly on me recently because I've been asked to do a lot of things. Hopefully also the mat is well placed. It's been a while since I used this mat, so I'm not really sure I kind of placed it correctly, but I'm hoping it will not bother anybody. Anyway, let's get started with the list. So starting things off, let's start off with the Shaddoll stuff. 3 copies of Wendy. Wendy is probably the best Shaddoll monster, I would say, like out of the new ones. I think like overall, this one is like your play starter. You play her, you dump something to the grave, or should I say, like, sorry, not dump, but like put something in the grave for both of her effect, not grave, onto the field, face down. Both of them. So like this, both of the effects are the same. So this one is very, very important, and like if ever this card will get banned, I think like Shaddoll Invoked is just dead, or Shaddoll generally is dead, because this card is very important and is very, very much a play starter in a lot of your combos. Next up, we're playing the second best boy and the best one out of the old ones. 3 copies of Squamata. Squamata is your Foolish Burial. Like, for any of these, except from one, which we'll get to it, one of the new ones, you don't really care about the flip effects, because you're not going to just do set pass, unless you're going to try to play dual alliance format again. But regardless, this card is very, very important. It's just a Foolish Burial for everything. It's just really, really good to have. It's just an additional copy for any of your Shaddoll effects, so that's really, really cool. Next up, let's move on to the 2-offs. 2 copies of Shaddoll Beast and 2 copies of Shaddoll Hedgehog. You all know what these two does. Shaddoll Beast is just draw a card if you do that, and Hedgehog is just search for any Shaddoll monster, which I think is very, very cool and very, very useful to have. Yeah, like having Shaddoll Hedgehog effect is just really, really good. The flip effect, like I said, doesn't really come up with these guys, but we are getting to the monsters that it does come up with, which is this one, Shaddoll Ariel. This is the only monster that you want to use the flip effect, because the flip effect says that you can target one of your banished Shaddoll monsters and then special summon it face up or face down defense position on your side of the field. So that's really cool. And then the other effect actually also come up, but you mostly care about the first effect. You set this into your field with the effect of Wendy, if you don't know the combo, and then you flare it up with a trap, which we'll see about it later down the line. But like the point is, you summon with this back a construct back to your punish pile. So that's really, really important, and it's a very core one-off. And then another one is Shaddoll Dragon. Shaddoll Dragon is just, you know what it does? It just pops stuff when it's sent to the graveyard, so that's really, really cool. Pop a spell and trap. And then a new addition to my list at the very least, and I'm seeing a lot of people also playing that, and I actually thought about it for a very long time as well. 1 copy of Chaos. This one is, I think, better than Falco right now. Because we need the light target, and it's searchable and it's usable and everything. It's like you do need enough lights because it's not pure. You don't really have the room to play with way too much lights, and this one's like, it is kind of a vanilla light monster, but it's also part of the archetype, but it also have another effect of being like a worse Squamata, being able to send a monster from your hand. So sometimes maybe you can activate effects. I'm not sure how the ruling works, but I think it does. But this guy just, I don't know, it's really interesting. It's mostly used here from being a light, which I'm really feeling bummed that his effect is such suck. So yeah, if it was better, I would wish that this one was better. But unfortunately, his effects are really bad. Also, for anybody who is asking why there were never fire and or earth Shaddoll monster from the new structure deck, is because of lore reason and the story of Dual Terminal 3, I think that's the name of that. But you know what I mean? Like, the story is because the earth is supposed to be Cliffords, and the fire is supposed to be Infernities, and all of them died, essentially, in the story. But anyway, moving on to the most important card of the deck, Alistair. You normal summon this, and you have, like, a Wendy in your hand. It's pretty much, I wouldn't say game, but it's pretty much set up to be a very good time for you. So if you open up, like, a Wendy or Squamata or something, and you're able to just, like, do your combo, it's just really good. Then we're running a mini package with the clowns, one damage juggler, one Trick Clown. You need the lights, and Trick Clown is actually really nice. Being able to just block an attack by, like, damage and stuff like that is really cool. And Trick Clown is 2 summons, so that's also really nice if you normal summon him as well. But you're mostly not going to normal summon him, but, like, if you have to, it's just 2 summons, so that's really cool. And then lastly, the only hand trap in the deck, we're running 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. It's a fire, you need a fire, it's just pretty much what it does, and it's the best hand trap, hands down, and always will be useful. And hand traps are not really that good this format, but this one is, so yeah. So that's pretty much does it for monsters. Now we'll move on to spells. First off, we're running 3 copies of Shaddoll Fusion. Shaddoll Fusion is worse than the second one, which is El Shaddoll Fusion, which we also run on 3. It's depending, of course, the situation. Going first, this one is a lot better. Going second, this one is a lot better, because you'll be able to use it, like, if your opponent control a monster in the extra monster zone, or extra from the extra deck. Because El Shaddoll Fusion is just, like, a quick play spell, so, like, going first is really good, and you're, like, let's say your opponent activates Dark Ruler no more, you'll still be able to bring back a Winda to your side of the field, so seeing this card is very important, and most of the time, like, you're going to dump it with Construct, to then just pretty much get it back once you're using Construct, which is still surprising me that Construct and the fusions and stuff like that are just not a hard ones per turn for both of their effects. But regardless, this card is very important, same goes for this one. This one is less important, but still very nice to have, but this one is absolutely insane. So yeah, 3 copies of El Shaddoll Fusion and normal Fusion. Then 2 copies of Invocation. I wish I had a third one. If I had a third one, also the mat decided to move a little bit. If I had a third one, I would say, like, this, play it. I had a third one, also like a secret rare, but I sold it back in the day. I wanted to always, like, buy the super rare to have, like, 1 in ultimate, 1 is secret, and 1 super, because I want to be annoying like that. But anyway, it's like 2 is a very sufficient number. I would recommend to, if you can, to run a third one, because it does sometimes come up. But you could go away with 2, like get away with 2, because this is not Mech Knight Invoked, which you really need the fusion spell, because you do need the fusion spell, but your deck already have, like, enough fusion spells to begin with, which we're also running the Super Polymerization, which we'll get to it. So it's like, it's really not that important. Like, the moment we're going to get Meltdown to 1, I guess, like, people will just, like, main Invocation to 3, definitely. But yeah, Invocation is just 2 off right now. 3 Magical Meltdown, 1 Terraforming, really good. Meltdown is absolutely insane in this deck. The fact that your opponent cannot respond to your fusion summon is ridiculous. Being able to do that is just very powerful, and, like, Meltdown is insane. Like, this is probably the problem card if you ever want to hit something in the Invoked Shaddoll list, because Meltdown effect is just really unfair. Like, if you want to hit the engine but not kill it completely, this is the way to go. And then 1 copy of Foolish Burial. Most of your monsters you want a Foolish Burial, so yeah, does the work up for you quite a bit. And then 3 copies of Super Poly. This is the card I mentioned earlier as another fusion spell. Mostly good going second. You could use it going first if you really have to, but you don't really do that. I am kind of, like, sometimes not sure if I want to side this or play it, because this one is interesting, because sometimes, like, I want something else, like Dark Ruler no more, or like Cosmic Cyclone, but it's like, it's here, but in my side, which I'm not going to show to you because there wasn't really a tournament really recently, so I don't really have any tournament report to show you guys how this deck performed in a tournament. But it's like, it's pretty much what you want. You want to have like Super Poly at 3 because we do have a target in the extra deck, but like I said, it's like, if you don't want to run that particular target and you think like Super Poly is bad, Dark Roll No More is a good option. Sinkos for Gold by the Grave, and any just other good spell or hand traps that you're feeling like it. Event traps, 1 copy of Incarnation and 2 copies of Dynamiscus, which is a text that I'm borrowing from Dazif, and I think I saw it a little bit before. But as much as I don't 100% like Dazif, I do agree on this particular Dynamiscus thing, because Dynamiscus is really, really good in like against a particular matchup that this deck has a little bit of time struggling against, and being able to just karma cut some of the cards, like for example for the Adamant Spaders, like Block Dragon, stuff like that, could really, really end their turn. So that's really, really cool to have and being able to deal with. And Shaddoll Incarnation is just pretty obvious. You just send it to the graveyard with Construct, and then you activate its effect to banish this and 1 Shaddoll card from the grave, and then just like flip the aerial, and then because you banish the Construct, you get to summon the Construct back. So that's really, really nice to have. So yeah, the Karma Cut and the Incarnation are just really, really good. So that's pretty much does it for the main deck. Now we'll move on to the extra deck. Extra deck, pretty straightforward. We're going to start with 2 copies of Construct. Yeah, it's sending Shaddoll monsters, pretty much the most important one. If this ever will come back to 1, I think this deck is probably going to be dead again. But like Construct, just sending your Shaddolls, not a hard once per turn. Recovering spells, not a hard once per turn. Sengors for the 2 windows, by the way. These 2 can just recover spells like nuts. I don't know why, but it's not a hard once per turn to recover the Shaddoll spells and traps. I don't know why, it just, that's how that goes. And then 1 copy of Epsilon, because Epsilon is just nice to have. I'm not sure if like I like it 100%, but like the ability to have summon it during your opponent's turn with El Shaddoll Fusion to negate something is just really, really strong, and the ability to search a fusion spell or a Shaddoll spell or Shaddoll card to your hand is really, really nice as well. So being able to do that is just really nice, and these are your 5 most known 5 Shaddoll monsters. The rest of them, unfortunately, are just not good enough to be in my opinion. Then for your invoked stuff, 1 copy of Elysion, 1 copy of Makaba, 1 copy of Pikachu, and 1 copy of Kaliga. Elysium is a card that you can cut down for 2 options, which I run in my side, either Unicorn or another Makaba. I never actually summoned a second Makaba, so I'm not really sure if I want to keep Makaba at more than 1, because Makaba is like, it's good, but it's like, I'm going to say this again, I know it sounds weird. I'm not sure I'm going to summon more than 1 in a game. It sounds very weird because I don't really have so much lights, and it's just not always feel important. And this one is just absolutely ridiculous with Shaddoll Fusion. Like, if you're able to like find yourself against like an Eldritch Invoked, you'll be able to take one of their monsters probably, and then one of their extra deck monsters and just fusion with it, and like worst case scenario you'll be able to fusion first and then like turn another monster as well. So that's really, really works to your favor. So yeah, having this is just really, really nice. But most of the time, like, you're going to use these 3. This is your El Shaddoll Super Poly target, which is sometimes come up, which is, again, I'm not sure if I want to keep that, but if you guys want to keep that, you're more than welcome to. If you don't want to, you're more than welcome to cut this out as well. Then we're going to go into the Link monsters. 1 copy of Boral Sword, 1 copy of Madness, 1 copy of Cross Sheep, 1 copy of Secure Gardener, 1 copy of Gravity Controller, and the 1 proxy of All Mirage, which I have to do because of quarantine, but All Mirage is very, very important. This one, just being able to just take your All Mirage sometimes is very, very nice, and being able to deal with extra deck monsters is just really cool. This and this, like All Mirage and this, is just a known combo to just get yourself a Shaddoll Construct or Makaba. Cross Sheep, just very important to combo, and this one just serves as an additional Alistair, and then this one is OTK. But the only card that, like I said, I probably want to try to run as well is 1 copy of Unicorn, because Unicorn is very, very powerful. Yeah. But that pretty much does it for the deck profile. Pretty straightforward, pretty much understandable. Hopefully I didn't really stretch that much, but this deck is just very, very fun. It's not powerful, I would say this. I think like the Eldritch Shaddoll, or Eldritch Invoked, sorry, is a little more powerful because it does what this deck does, but better. So that's why this deck fell up a little bit off the map. but it's still a very, very fun deck. If you do have the cards, the invoked cards, but don't have the Eldritch stuff, and you do want to build a strong enough of a deck, this is just a good deck for you. But like, it's mostly just for fun. Like, I do think that Shaddolls and Invoked have just better options to go around with them, especially Invoked right now. Shaddolls, I think, can go really, really well with dinosaurs as well, with like the new light and stuff like that, so that can also really work. And dinosaurs are decks that like to go second, so it just does benefit the deck a little bit. So yeah, that's pretty much does it for that. So once again, thank you all so much for watching. Remember, creativity is the key in this game. Have a good day, guys. Stay safe, and maybe we're going to see you on my channel. Bye-bye.